How's it going, everyone? Dax here, and today we're checking out the newest Quasquaz video. It is bloody warm today, so do forgive me. Are you a dream of the universe? Let's get straight into it. And away we go.
Absolutely everything you think about yourself and the universe could be an illusion. As far as you know, you are real and exist in a universe that was born 14 billion years ago and that gave rise to galaxies, stars, the Earth, and finally you.
So every scientist tells me.
Maybe not. You may actually not exist for real, but be the dream of a dead universe. You
Wait, what?
And everything you think exists.
Oh god, it's gonna hurt my brain,
Crazy
isn't
as
it?
sounds, this may be an unavoidable consequence of our best scientific theories about the universe. Okay, this is a bit much. Let's start at the beginning. We need to understand three concepts for this idea to make sense.
Okay, hit me.
One, the arrow of
not
time.
particularly, but arrow
What
time, what's that?
distinguishes the past from the future? Put a drop of red ink into a glass of water, and you see the ink spread until it fills the container, but never the opposite. Colored
True.
water where ink spontaneously concentrates and becomes a drop at the surface again. Time
Okay.
always seems to flow in the direction in which the ink spreads. But if you take a microscope, all you will see will be a swarm of
Says it
molecules
inevitable.
colliding at random. There are no rules, no forwards and backwards. Every
Okay.
individual motion that happens can occur in reverse. But we perceive a sort of arrow of time that makes things happen in one direction. How does this phenomenon occur? Well, this arrow of time is not actually fundamental, but a matter of probability. When ink molecules spread to fill a glass, there are many different slots of space they can occupy, and therefore many different possibilities to combine them. And just like your chances of winning the lottery grow the more tickets you have, the probability
I'm a bit confused right now. Isn't it more perception than probability? Like, isn't it where time begins from your view of standpoint, from your brain, rather than the factual evidence of what he's given? Or I might be stupid. I don't know.
that ink
I'm just
molecules
thinking.
will end up filling the glass is much higher than the probability that they'll concentrate in just one spot. So it's not that the ink forming a drop again is forbidden by the laws of physics, it's just extremely unlikely. To see it, you'd have to wait about 10 to the power of 100 sextillion years. A 1 followed by 100 sextillion zeros.
My
If you
god.
had this much time to spare, eventually, by pure random chance, you'd see a red blob form again. Actually, with enough time, you could see any shape forming. Like, for example, a small, red, soggy brain. Okay, let's
So
move
he's
on to
talking
idea
about
2.
the probability of a
2.
planet
The far
emerging.
future of the universe. Our universe was
guessing.
born 14 billion years ago in the Big Bang. It expanded and evolved to give rise to the myriads of galaxies and things. In other words, the universe is kind of a glass of water with a lot of ink doing stuff. It has an arrow of time. But the universe is not a static glass, it seems to be getting bigger at an ever-increasing speed because of dark energy. Basically, everything in it is getting more and more diluted. In about 100 trillion years, the last star will die. Then, few interesting things will happen for the next few decillions,
Last black
vantillions,
hole.
and googles of years. Eventually,
Okay.
the universe will be a dark place fully dominated by dark energy, a rapidly expanding ball of pure space almost devoid of matter. You might think that this would lead to the ultimate death of everything, but dark energy has one last surprise for you.
Which
In a universe
is?
dominated by dark energy, space expands so dramatically that it creates a cosmic horizon around you, a border beyond which nothing will ever be able to reach you, not even light. So for every practical purpose, the universe has become a glass
Wait,
of
what?
finite size, about 36 billion light years wide, surrounded by an impassable cosmic horizon. Such a
Okay.
universe glass is basically a
Do we ever find out what's behind the horizon?
giant black hole turned inside
Do you
out.
reckon? We
We know that due to quantum effects, all black holes emit a tiny amount of particles, a phenomenon known as Hawking radiation. And so does our inside-out black hole. In the end, this radiation
we're like
will
an
fill
inside.
the universe glass with particles again.
Imagine if we are just a black hole. Everything we know in our visible existence is just a black hole.
At this point, so far in the future that giving you a number has no more meaning, we've reached the true final state.
Oh,
The
God.
universe has now become a closed box full of particles at an extremely low but finite temperature. And since
Okay.
they have a temperature, they undergo random motions. Or in other words, a glass filled with water and ink and an infinite amount of time ahead. Things are about to become interesting again.
How so?
3. Typing monkeys and fake universes.
Okay, what?
Eternity is a long, long time.
Yes.
So now, even the
A bit
most
long.
extremely unlikely things can happen. The fluctuating particles are bumping into each other
Like
over and over
what?
and over again, creating every combination of particles that's possible. They're like a monkey typing at random on a typewriter. Almost all of the time it types gibberish. But with
Well,
enough
like
time,
Shakespeare?
eventually it will write the first acts of Hamlet.
Oh,
And
Hamlet.
with even more time, the complete works of Eminem.
Mum
If
spaghetti?
ink in our universe glass generates any random arrangements of particles, what could they be? Well, a spontaneous fluctuation could give rise to a planet, or to a galaxy, or even to a lot of them. So maybe our universe has already ended, and all we see around us is a pop-up universe. Not a universe that evolved from a Big Bang, but one that fluctuated into existence by pure chance. And that, like the drop of ink, will only exist for a while before dissolving again. Being random, pop-up universes could
So we're the pop-up universe? Everything around us is just fake, do you reckon? Possible? That's
be
that's
similar to
possible.
ours, but with funny
We're just mimicking what's already happened.
glitches. In some of these universes,
Ooh.
dinosaurs are riding snails. In another, stars are made of blueberries. In another, you're wearing a funny hat.
I'm already doing
Scientists in
that.
such universes wouldn't understand
I just forgot
those
to put it
glitches, so maybe the greatest mysteries of physics are just nonsense bugs of our pop-up universe. But
Sick.
not all possible fluctuations of our dead universe have
Get
the
the
same
patch, fix
probability
it.
of occurring. Smaller fluctuations are much more probable than bigger ones. A planet is more likely than a galaxy. But you know what's even way more likely? A human brain.
Come again? What?
Are you actually just a brain? You think, therefore,
What?
you exist. But what else do you truly know? In the end, your brain is just interpreting signals from your senses and creating a world that you experience. So technically, you could be just your brain that thinks the world is real. And if we follow the logic of the ink in the universe glass, in
Jesus.
particular, you could be a disembodied brain that, just by chance, emerged in a dead universe with your complete set of knowledge and memories. This
What? How? Oh, I think he's just said what I said earlier. Like we're just echoes of our previous selves
is a pretty bizarre idea.
being recreated.
But if we do the maths, it's kind of pretty solid. Let's compare the number of brains inside bodies in a living universe with the number of naked brains in a dead
So we're like an
universe.
echo planet.
Let's go really big and imagine that a total of 100 quadrillion humans will live around Earth,
That'd be kind of crazy.
and that the same amount of people will live around every star in the universe. If we add this together, we get about 10 to the power of 41 brains inside bodies that will exist. However,
Jesus.
in a dead universe that has had enough time to explore all possible fluctuations and that will exist forever, the number of naked brains that would emerge is, well, infinite. So the probability that you're a floating brain is not only vastly larger than the probability that you're a real human, it's so inconceivably larger that we can't even meaningfully quantify the difference. How do you compare a number to infinity? So, are you a floating brain that exists for one moment in time,
Crazy.
then basically forever passes, and then you exist for another moment in time? Maybe
That's
not even in that order. Maybe your life
nuts.
happens backwards, and you just don't notice. Maybe you've lived trillions of times already. Are you the dream of a dead universe? Really?
That's depressing.
Like, really?
That's depressing as hell.
Probably not. First of all, there are a few loopholes. For example, dark energy could behave completely differently from what we think today and lead us to another future. Or maybe our dead universe will be too motionless to allow the creation of brains, even with infinite time. Or maybe the universe will end up dying in another way. Our understanding of the cosmos doesn't have a solid enough foundation for anyone to worry if they're real or not. Loopholes aside, if you were a fluctuating brain,
That
all
looks
the
so
laws of physics stored in your brain would have
wrong.
originated at random and shouldn't bear any relation to the real world. But we just used those laws to prove that you're a floating brain. So
Yeah.
even if you believe that you are a floating brain, you'd have to admit that you have no good reason to believe that you are actually a floating brain. Okay,
What?
so this hallucinatory trip might teach us something about our theories about the universe. But in the end, it's just a really weird exercise in what you can do with physics. An exercise of what brains and bodies are able to think about. So don't worry, you're not a dream of the dead universe. Probably.
That's
At
crazy.
Kurzgesagt, we love discussing topics like
I hated that video, man. That was scary in so many different ways. I don't want to know. And I know, no. Anyway, check out the Kurzgesagt stuff. Yeah, make sure their channel keeps going so they can really creep us out and make sure we don't sleep tonight. Good video. That was a really good video, though. I like that idea, but I hate that idea at the same time.